Hey everyone, we got some really great feedback on our video that walked through just how to beat the challenger SMURFS that might end up in your games. So we're going to be going over 2 more games today in the same style that I recently played while recording commentaries and looking over the big mistakes that the enemy made that allowed me to win. In one of these games, the enemy jungler actually had a massive early lead, but ended up throwing it away. So we're going to be talking about how they should have tried to snowball themselves and also how to avoid falling behind in the first place. Let's get right into it. The first game we're going to be looking at is an Udyr versus Olaf game. I get massively ahead and go up over 100 CS and 4 levels on the enemy jungler. But this kind of stuff doesn't happen magically, so let's break down why and how it could have been avoided. Olaf starts at red buff and sees that I'm also starting on bot side based on the leash, and he makes a quick mistake. What do you think it is? While there is an argument to be made about not full clearing in every game, Olaf and Udyr basically operate the same way. You generally want to use your extremely fast clear to get a level lead and then look for plays. There are going to be times where you need to gank and disrupt your full clear, but there's no real reason to, at least not yet. And we essentially lock ourselves out of contesting the same crab as the enemy jungler by doing this due to ensuring that we'll be a level down. Knowing that Udyr is pathing into the same side, we won't be able to do much on top side without being contested. Even if we rush and do a faster pathing, we're going to fight 2v2 at some point unless Udyr just messes up and ignores you. Olaf passed towards top and after getting level 3 decides to look for a top play. Not only do we expect him to end up topside for a play, so this gank is highly unlikely to work anyways, we have it warded. So because he's not level 4, I know that this is a clear win for us and we can easily fight. He wants to fight me, I will win, so not too concerned here. He's level 3, so just get level 4, stat check him. Game. The ensuing fight is really terrible for Olaf, and obviously his game is super hard now after the initial mistake that just got punished. But now we have to ask, how do you stop the bleeding as much as possible from this point? Coming out of base, Olaf knows that I'm topside, so he should try his best to make a counterplay on the other side of the map. What is it? He should definitely try to contest bot crab while I'm not there. Because he can't actually fight me, he needs to make sure he's at things before me. Olaf passed towards Krugs here, which is a massive mistake for more than one reason. 1, he delays his ability to get to bot crab. 2, he can now not protect his extremely valuable respawning raptors from an invade. And 3, he can't hover the mid fight or invade on my respawning Gromp if I were to kill too much time on top side. Obviously, once he sees me cross through mid, he can't really contest bot crab or invade me. But now he would ideally want to go take away his raptors before I had the chance to invade. It's not the best to get double crabbed, but at this point anything you can do to reduce the snowball is really important, until you get a chance to make a comeback play at least. He gets his raptors taken on respawn because he was late and then afterwards gets pushed out of his jungle. He does have a chance to maybe come back in the game a little bit right now, so what do you think he should do? Knowing that I was just in his bot side jungle when his camps were respawning, he should know that mine are also coming up. And this is his one chance to get into my jungle to take things away and maybe even out the game. He could look to take my raptors and Krugs while also glancing to see if mid and top are collapsing or are gankable. Obviously this is a risky play, but the game is at the point where it's pretty doomed if you don't try to do something proactive. And I've always been of the opinion that going down fighting is much better than just bleeding out. He opts to farm his own camps instead and doesn't really get much. We know for a fact that he has to be on top side since I just pushed him out of his bottom jungle and I just show up to counter the play. When you're behind, it's imperative that you try to get to plays either before the enemy can or just force on the opposite side instead. Otherwise, you're going to have to constantly fight 1v1 or 2v2 against opponents that are just much stronger than you. Avoid the enemy at all costs and just look to sneak things out from under their nose instead of dealing with them directly. If he had taken the chance to get ahead of me and look for my camps or a gank here, I wouldn't have had a response and he might have had a way back into the game. I basically greeted my camps knowing that he wouldn't really punish me for resetting late, and it just turns out that I was correct. The rest of this game, basically, I just force a ton of fights around Olaf knowing that I'm much stronger and will win. At this point, he can't do much to get back into the game unless I really mess up, so there's no real reason to look at his POV anymore. This is really important to know though. Once you're ahead, it's not the enemy's game to win anymore. It's just yours to lose, and it's usually mistakes that allow them to come back into the game. So let's switch gears a bit and look at a game where I actually fell behind quite hard early, but managed to bring it back. In this one, I'm playing Lilia into Kha'Zix. I start off with an invade, not expecting 2 people to be stacked in the bush. In higher elos, people usually stand on the ramp to jungle entrance and in top bush, so it caught me off guard and I greeted my flash to die. I did blow Kha'Zix's flash though, so I'm going to look to try and punish it. After my first 2 camps and expecting Kha'Zix to be slow on his clear, I invade for his blue with my sweeper and watch both lanes to see if I have prio. Unfortunately, even though my lanes can move and we definitely beat a Kha'Zix with no flash or E, they don't, and the ensuing fight goes pretty poorly for us. I try to outplay Samira by smiting my Krugs for HP, but I lose vision and, well, it's just not very good. I walk into Kha'Zix in top river as I'm distracted by the close top fight right after, and I get pushed out of my jungle too. Kha'Zix now has the chance to take my top side, and I think it's safe to say that he has a massive lead over me at this point. So, how does he throw it? What should he be looking to do from this point onwards? Kha'Zix needs to force interactions between us. Right now he's much stronger than me and essentially wants to make sure that we don't trade kills across the map. But instead, he should involve himself in every play that I can do so he can shut it down and make sure I don't have an avenue back into the game. Recall the Udyr versus Olaf game we just looked at, where I essentially put myself in Olaf's face the entire early game and didn't really let him get anything for free. What we're about to look at is a much different story, and it's something that a lot of junglers mess up a ton, that allows completely lost games to be won. In fact, in Challenger, I could never win a game with this kind of start. Knowing that I have to go bot side now, Kha'Zix should look to reset and go towards bottom. Not only to protect his bot side camps and maybe contest bottom crab, but also potentially counter my ganks on bot or invade me. While he does pressure top and comes in to take my wolves, he spends an absolute eternity and lets me do things like ganking bot, taking away his jungle, farming my own camps that all should have been completely shut down. 4 minutes have already gone by that we don't interact once, and while he does get successful ganks off, I do too. And when you have a lead, going even is really just losing it. He does get to take away my Gromp and wolves again, but I just avoid him and make plays happen on the other side of the map, like taking dragon and invading for his blue. By the time we actually fight again, I'm quite strong and we win a 2v2 fight in mid. Think about how impactful a 1000 gold lead may look in the early game. But if that lead doesn't grow at all, by 20 or 30 minutes it just means less and less, and you allow the other person to catch up in terms of total gold. That's exactly what happens in this game though. Because he didn't manage to shut me down, our bot lane is very far ahead and I'm still extremely relevant, so us winning team fights is pretty easy. And we have a Dragon Soul win condition set up if we need it because he lets me play on bot side for free. When you're ahead, don't look to trade things. Make the enemy's life a living hell and constantly contest them for everything they want to do. Time you don't spend pressuring them is time that you're throwing your lead. So it's really important that you practice this kind of play so you can avoid games like this from happening. It may seem small, but these early game decisions where he split the map allowed me to go even and stall to a point where I became relevant again. Just getting kills and camps for yourself doesn't necessarily mean that you're winning, even if you are getting gold. So in future games, try to think a little bit more about when you can force interactions with the enemy when they're behind and really take the time to shut them down. And if you're serious about truly becoming a better jungler and climbing fast, then check out SkillCapped. It's the best place to improve at League of Legends. We have hundreds of guides just like this one, and we upload tons of new videos to our site each week. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. That's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. We offer this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't, you shouldn't pay for it. Thanks for watching, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future. We'll see you next time, and good luck in your solo queue climb.